What's up, guys? I still hope you're interested in this amazing hardware-software combination. I'm going to be using a signal analyzer, and we're going to be going over our oscillator section. So we're going to go to our oscillator tab, and this is where the main meat of the sound generation comes from. But you don't really have to do anything crazy here, because the effects section and sculpting, you can get some really interesting effects. So first things first is there's an oscillator mix section. So it's two oscillators plus a sub-oscillator and then a third, right? So yeah, for those keeping count, it's basically 4 oscillators. And we're going to get into more things that are more than oscillators, which are weird. So this is the oscillator balance. So I'm going to go to oscillator 1. This is our saw wave. We have a continuous sine to square, and the saw wave is like right in the middle there. We of course have our pulse width modulation all the way up into the silence, so it turns into a silent oscillator. That looks weird. So I'm gonna go saw again, and yeah, this is our saw. Another thing, kind of classically how it works, is when you go all the way to the sine wave, you have access to a drop-down menu, and this drop-down menu has a triangle, and it has all of the classic wave shapes. So there's a whole bunch of them, and one of my favorites is 30. Completely fun. It's an organ, plenty of shapes that are kind of lifted from other places. Those sneaky Germans. Yeah, and that is the classic. So this is shared by all virus synths. Virus C in particular has the exact same wave shapes, but the filter sounds a little bit different to me. Anyway, new things. We have our Hypersaw, which emulates the JP8000 and JP8080, which I have in front of me right here. It is a set of saws that you detune, right? So it's quite a bit of saws. So this is 8 saws, and we can detune it like that. So you spread them. So check this out. You see a whole lot of saws, and that's basically trance and hardstyle in a nutshell. And we can stack this up with another group of hypersaws. So we can have a bunch of saws going on at once. We can detune them and go crazy. So a very large sound already, and that is our Hypersaw. And then you get into Wavetable, and what these are, they're new kind of wave shapes, kind of like how they have in Massive. And I'll find, yeah. So they're named after what they kind of do. So you get like a lot of unique timbres, and you warp them around. There's a few that are kind of recognizable, and yeah, think of, if you know Massive, then these are kind of where it's at. They sound more brittle than Massive, but you know, if you use the distortion and the filters, so you see throaty. A whole lot of weird going on there. So we have wave pulse width modulation. It's just another way to shape sounds and get different timbres. So we have that, and that's pretty fun. Grain synthesis, it is pretty weird. Just another way to get more timbres. And format, which uses math to shift the harmonics up. So, you know, if you're a fan of dubstep or brostep, and you're sick of using Massive, these sounds can destroy planets. So yeah, we have, yeah, let's go, what's that knit again? Let's stop by a knit. So we have our saw wave here. And we can add another saw or another oscillator. So say if we have 2 here, and we like how that sounds, and it's gliding around and it sounds, you know, analog, whatever. We want to add a third one, so we can go. Let's go saw. We'll have another saw, and we'll have this up at 48, and then we'll mix it in with this section here. Right? We have another saw layer. Also, we have a sub oscillator, which is down, so it gives things a bit more meat. We can change that between a square and a triangle, depending on how bottomy you want your sub oscillator to be. So with that being said, let's go Hypersaw again. This is one of my favorite parts. So this is a simple saw, not a simple saw, a Hypersaw or a super saw. Alright, so we have that. So how we make that sound a bit more wider? Well, there's this Unison section here. And this is, yeah, my favorite part of these virus synths. What you're doing is you're stacking your voices and detuning them, right? So right now we have, kind of boring. If we double it, nothing's happening, right? We have to spread. Right, so we have a wider sound, and we can go all the way up to 8 voices. So the more voices you use, the more, you know, the Snow can handle. I believe it's 50 voices. So right now we're using 8. The big TI can handle up to 90, I believe. But it's all adaptive. It really depends on the actual unit itself. There's kind of a readout telling you how many voices you have. Or not how many voices you have. It tells you if you're using a lot of voices. And also you can set this little flashy light here. You can set it to flash when there's note stealing, which is pretty useful. Let's see here. Yeah, there's also noise. You can adjust the color, which is pretty neat. You can have just noise. So we can have a little bit amount of noise. We'll set it back to twin. And the noise adds a bit of air to it, which is pretty fun, and a ring modulator. Right? So now we have kind of FM possibilities. And yeah, this is a whole bunch of FME type goodness. And that is basically it for, you know, this section. So what I want to do is I want to go into a filter section. And yeah, this is another one of my favorite things. There you have 2 filters here: low pass, high pass, band pass, and band reject. Wait. Yeah, band reject. You have an analog mode, and this emulates the Moog style. So as you go up, low pass 1, 2, 3, 4, they're different poles. So this is like one pole. You know, different types of, you know, saturation. Or different poles. So we'll boost the resonance here. What we can do is we can increase the saturation, and this is analog saturation. So you notice that the saturation option disappears. So it's the saturation, it's only analog overdrive. So you get a very analog saturation there. But there's no, you don't stop there. You can have different kinds of saturation with your filter. So I'll just give you a listen to what those sound like. Right? So if saturation is off and you have saturation max, it obviously doesn't do anything. And that is that, really. There's also a filter envelope built in here. This is where the envelopes are. They're in the filter section. It's kind of weird, but whatever. It's very, analog-y. Especially if we use like a hard distortion. And we can go to our bandpass. So we have like a 303-ish type thing. And yeah, that's one of my favorite things. We can go 4-pole, which is more of an intense cutoff. And we can shape it. We can unlink the two filters. So we have oh, we gotta do this. You have two filters acting independently, or you can sync them up. The amplifier envelope is hidden on here. And that's pretty fun. So you can make your pads. You can also pan, but the mixer section for all parts is up here. So that works out. Yeah, I'm going to get into the modulation section afterwards. This video's kind of long. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What else about the filter? Oh, you can key track it, and the filters do self-oscillate, seeing as how they emulate a lot of cool stuff. The filter is very highly resonant. Which adds to its sound. But yeah, alright. Hope you enjoyed.